What's up, Tiger fans? Tonight we have a great show for you.
That's right. Tonight we'll give you our Miami, Florida recap. We asked a Genie for 3 wishes, and we'll give you Clemson football recruiting updates.
Also, we're going to give you our Week 1 picks against the spread and take a look at the big game Thursday night, Clemson versus Georgia Tech. Let's load the buses, Tiger fans. We are live.
Let me tell you something right now. They don't put championship rings on smooth hands. You gotta go earn it.
Third down and 12. Hansler going for a bunch for Gardner. Lots of pushing. He has it! At the 8-yard line, Rod Gardner.
Which spreads the field a little more. They've been able to find some gaps in the running game with this. Proctor under pressure on the flat. Spiller makes a move. Needs to get the first down.
The pressure on the blitz. Down the middle for Hopkins. He makes the catch to 40. Holy cow! Still all the way to the rack. Beautiful dish from Anderson.
And they are on their feet here at Little John Coliseum.
Alley-oop for McDaniels. Ball finds him.
Watson takes a snap, rolls right, looks into the end zone. Hunter up front, caught it! Touchdown! 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 With a second left.
Third throw in 3 plays. It's intercepted. And the Tigers are going the other way. A.J. Terrell with a pick six. And backpedaling Lawrence flips it open. Wide open. Justin Ross off and running. The Alabama native wins the foot race. And Clemson strengthens its grip on this championship game.
Wow, gut punch by Clemson right there.
And now, the Morgan Thomas Show, brought to you by Black's Tire Inc.
Here we go, another Wednesday night, the Morgan Thomas Show. It's August 28th, episode 34. You're watching the Morgan Thomas Show. I'm your host and producer, Morgan Thomas. And joining me is my co-host, Big Al, Alan Adams. Welcome to the show, Al.
Glad to be here, brother. Man, one more day. We're getting close.
Well, we're streaming live here in Greenville, South Carolina. Alan's over in Anderson, South Carolina. Welcome to the show wherever you may be watching. I know we got a lot of people joining in right now, and we had a little bit of buffering going on. We'll try to get that fixed for you as we go on, but excited because tomorrow night is the big game between Clemson and Georgia Tech. But let's talk about tonight's show before we get into that. Tonight's show is brought to you by Black's Tire Inc., family owned and operated since 1971. If you need new tires, brakes, alignments, tire repair, or just looking for a friendly professional to help answer your questions, stop by Black's Tire Inc., located 1415 East Main Street, Westminster, South Carolina. Give them a call, 864-647-9292. Check out their website. We have it over on our Facebook page if you would like to do that. Another big-time announcement, Al. I know most of you have already seen it on Facebook. Alan has already known about it for a couple of weeks. We just couldn't say anything. But we are now digital partners with The Roar. If you don't know what The Roar is, it's a local radio station. Really, it's a radio station in South Carolina that covers all things Clemson athletics. They're really the Clemson flagship station. You can find them 105.5 in Greenville, Anderson, Clemson. You can find them 97.5 or 1560 AM over in Spartanburg. Again, it's the flagship station for Clemson athletics. If the Tigers are in action, you're going to find them. But they are also trying to increase their reach on the internet and online, and that's why we joined them. So you'll be able to see on their website, the www.theroar.radio, you'll be able to see our show on there. So go check it out. Watch the show, watch the replay, and put a comment on there. Let them know how you enjoyed the show and that you're glad that we're partnering with The Roar. So it's an exciting time for us because it's a big-time name in Clemson football and Clemson athletics. So we'll see. The sky's the limit, as we say, but I'm excited. Al, how do you feel about it?
Man, I've been listening to The Roar for a long time, all right? I've been listening to them since I started at Sergeant Metal Fabricators 10 years ago. So I know a lot of the old hosts, man. I listen to them every day. I got a radio for my office simply so I can listen to The Roar at work. Any of my coworkers can tell you it's on pretty much the entire day. So I love the Roar. Just really excited to be a kind of a partner with them, affiliate program with them. It's just going to be awesome.
Yeah, we want to give a special shout out to Mark Childress, Ben Milstead, and Deborah Jones for making this all possible and believing in Alan and I in the show. Man, it's crazy. We've told you this many times that we started this show kind of just out of nowhere. It wasn't really supposed to be a show, just something fun to talk about, and it was kind of a little hobby that developed into something bigger, and now here we are, episode 34. We've been doing it for longer than 34 weeks, haven't done every single week, but 34 shows now, and this is the last show before the Georgia Tech game, so it's a big-time deal for us. We're excited for that. But Al, you mentioned to us that you were going to go to the Georgia Tech game.
Of course.
And, I know you've been getting on to me about not going to the Georgia Tech game myself.
Of course.
So tell me, I was listening this morning, and I noticed that a lot of people are anticipating more excitement or more excited for the pregame ceremony because they're going to kind of celebrate the national champions of last year. So are you more excited about the pregame stuff or with College Game Day, or are you more excited about the game itself?
Whoever you're talking about is crazy. Okay, it's all about the game. It is all about the game. It's always cool to celebrate a national championship, especially in football. I mean, everybody wants the ones in football, of course. And we got another one in a big, big way last year. So that's a really cool deal. And I'm excited for them to celebrate that. But that's last year now. All right, this is about this year, and it all starts when they hike the ball. So I'm ready for the game.
Yeah, I'm excited for the game. It's time to stop talking about it and be about it, as Dabo Sweeney likes to say. So I'm excited to watch what they can do. Dabo has said, too, there's only so much you can do in practice and leading up to the game, so before you have to actually play the game. And so I know the players are excited about that and ready to play. I know the coaches are excited and ready to play. And so we're happy to be a part of that. And tomorrow night, man, it's really less than 24 hours now. The Tigers will be playing in Death Valley, so it's exciting for all Tiger fans all around the nation for sure. Alan, let's check in with our YouTube audience and our Facebook audience just real quick, just to make sure everything's running right. I know we kind of got into the intro here, but how's everything looking over on YouTube? I'm seeing the feed is it looks like it's working right now. Let us know in the chat if you're seeing the feed. We actually just switched from AT&T to Spectrum because AT&T kept kicking us off air. I had the fastest internet possible that you could buy, 1 gig internet, and it just kept kicking me offline. And you remember last week it kicked us offline. So switch back over to Charter because it's a consistent connection, or it was when we first started this show. But looks like we're buffering a little bit. But if you miss anything on the show tonight, just know that we will have a replay going, tomorrow and Friday over the weekend, so you can enjoy it as well. What you got over there, Al, on Facebook? Is it buffering over there for you?
It was buffering for a little while, but they say it's better now. They said we had an audio lag, but I think that's a little bit better now. So hopefully things will go smoothly from here on out. But I'm seeing, let's see, my wife is watching. Kevron, regular there. It's good to see you with us. Evan Fields is in with us. Nick Cullen, I appreciate the updates on how the stream is going, my friend. Mark Childress, of course, as you alluded to, we really appreciate all your help and support. Trey Carter with us, Bill McCormick. Let's see who else. My mom is in with us, so I'm thinking the stream is good now. It's what I'm hearing anyway. So I'm hoping we're good to go for the rest of the show.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure it out as we go. Changing over internet connection is sometimes can be a little tough, and especially trying to stream from YouTube and Facebook at the same time. But we'll figure it out and see how it goes. What can go wrong will go wrong when you don't want it to go wrong, right? Yeah, it looks like we're having a little bit of issues over on YouTube, but like I said, we'll have the replay for you, later tonight, tomorrow, so you'll be able to watch that and check it out. Let's jump over to our first topic of the night, Big Al, and just keep it rolling. How about that?
Do it.
Our first topic of the night, we really wanted to kind of recap college football week 0, I guess you could say. Really wasn't the true first week, because this week is the true first week of college football. So if you look back, the biggest game there was the Miami-Florida game. A lot going on with that game. A lot of debate right off the bat, because I think we're so starved for college football that we just immediately jumped to making, solid statements, like blanket statements for every player and every offense and every team, those two teams specifically, right there from the start. So what did you think about the game? I know, well, before we say that, I want to congratulate you on the fact that you did pick correctly. You said that Miami was going to cover the spread, but that Florida would win. I actually said that Florida was going to beat the spread and score more than 8 points or win by more than 8 points, and they did not. Really kind of a sloppy game for those two teams. Not really what you want to kind of remember for the rest of the season, but what were your thoughts when you watched the game?
I mean, like you just said, that's my very first sentence in my notes. What a sloppy game. All right, turnovers and penalties and sacks, it was a ridiculous game. It looked really off kilter from start to finish. I actually thought, during the game that I was going to be wrong, that, Miami wasn't going to just cover the spread and Florida would win. Miami was going to win the game. I think when you look back at it, you look at all the problems they had. Miami, 15 penalties, 118 yards. Okay, Florida had 9 penalties for 100 yards. Miami one turnover, Florida 4, and Florida had 10 sacks. Okay, freshman quarterback going against their offensive line, not good. Okay, Miami's offensive line was absolutely atrocious the entire game. And you know what? Florida wasn't great. As a matter of fact, Miami's defense actually did a pretty good job against them. If you look back at their scoring drives, Florida scored in some ways where it's really more about what Miami did wrong more than what Florida did right. They went for a crazy fourth down at the very beginning of the game. Nobody saw coming. That's a 1 in a million type play. You're not usually going to go for that fourth down. Caught Miami off guard. Play 66-yard touchdown. Okay, you take away. I don't want to say you take away that touchdown. Obviously, it counts. But in a normal situation, they were never going to score that touchdown because they were never going to go for it on fourth down. They caught them off guard. They got the first down, took advantage of it. Miami muffs a punt. A couple plays later, Florida goes in and scores. I'm pretty sure they scored again later, maybe a field goal or something, on a fourth down play. Again, they went for it on fourth down. It was a false start that wasn't called. Miami defense froze for just a second. They ended up getting the first down, going down to score, I believe. So Florida really, really lucky in this game. With all the bad luck happening all the way around, I really think Miami deserved to win this game. And that's hard to say when they give up 10 sacks. Okay, newsflash again. Miami's offensive line is terrible. That's going to plague them all season long. I don't think that's going to get fixed anytime soon. Hopefully they can mask it like they did in the beginning, short screen passes, over the middle type stuff. And they did really well with that. I'm assuming Florida's defense adjusted to that a little bit more than they would like. They kind of went away from it some. So they stopped scoring. But, I mean, what a game. It was a close game. It was a fun game. Even when everything's going wrong, it's still kind of fun to watch, when it's back and forth like that. They both had their chances, but Florida was able to squeeze out just enough to get the victory.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of people who were saying that it was an exciting game to watch. I felt like I was, maybe it was just because we're starved of college football, but there was a lot going on for sure. On the Miami side, I was excited to see the turnover chain come out. I know the ring thing, the touchdown rings or the scoring rings or whatever they want to call it, was a little bit weird and a little confusing for sure, but I felt like that it was really exciting to see that turnover chain, exciting to see them get 4 turnovers. Felipe Franks, or Felipe Hot Dogs, whatever we want to call him, is not doing well. He didn't do well that game. He kind of reverted back to his old self, and it didn't play like he did at the end of the season, which I thought he was going to carry over his success at the end of the season, but it doesn't look like the case for sure. So my first thing that I put down was, I was excited for that Miami defense. It seems like they're going to be a pretty good defense. Started out a little slow. I think everybody anticipated kind of a difficult game as your first game. It's such a big game for your first game out the gate to kind of work out the kinks, especially with a new coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. I knew it was going to be difficult for both teams really being your first game. That was my thought, was the defense settled in and seemed to do really well for the Miami side. A lot of people were saying Jarren Williams, singing his praises up and down. I'm not ready to name him some next big thing. I think that's really what bothers me about the media is you get one player that does decent, doesn't do as bad as the guy on the other side of the field, which was terrible. But really his QBR wasn't as good as Felipe Franks, because Felipe did get 2 scores and a rushing score, 2 passing scores and a rushing score. So Jarren Williams, I'm not ready to say that he's going to be some sort of master quarterback. The next big thing for Miami. It's just too early to tell. I was not impressed with how he responded after getting those turnovers. I talked about the defense getting 4 turnovers. After those 4 turnovers, let me read this out to you, Al. So Florida had a fumble. Miami answered with -2 yards. Florida came back, had another fumble. Other than DJ Dallas getting them into field goal range and them kicking the field goal, nothing. It was just a run game, guy. Florida got threw an interception, 15 yards by the running back again, and they missed a field goal. Florida, an interception at the end of the game, or Miami got an interception at the end of the game against Florida, and turned around and got -2 yards and turnover on down. So I was really not impressed with how they took advantage of their turnovers. I mean, they got so many. You would think if you had 4 turnovers, you should win the game.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they did not win the game. And so here we are as Miami losing by 4 points. And I agree with you. It could have been a game that Miami easily had won. I'm looking over on Twitter the next day, and I see Pro Football Focus, which I love them. I mean, I follow them. But they put out a stats that said Jarren Williams, when kept clean in the pocket, performed statistically better in every category. And I thought, what a joke. I mean, you perform statistically better in every category when you're not under pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't every talented quarterback perform better when they're not under pressure? That's what it's all about. I mean, really, you can't take pressure out of the game and say this quarterback's going to be a big deal because, look at him when the offensive line stood up. I guess that's what they were really trying to say is if he had an offensive line that was decent, he would have been better. Well, It's hard to say because you could have said the offense. It was the offensive line. You could have put it on the offensive line too. Just flip that for sure. So I mean, I don't really see. You always give the quarterback all the credit. Nobody gave DJ Dallas and the other guy, number 9. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but those 2 guys got a lot of yards after the catch.
Yeah.
And that one big play from DJ Dallas was a screen that was thrown high and away from him, and he jumped up, spun around, caught it, and took off with it. And you don't see a lot of posts about DJ Dallas, but you saw all these posts about Jarren Williams. And I'm just not big on giving the quarterback everything, praising him up and down just because of having an okay performance, I guess you could say, when really the quarterback position of all positions is relying on the people who he facilitates the ball to. And so again, same old same for Miami. I feel like they still have a quarterback that can't win the game for them right now. Got to develop that from him. I mean, he's a young guy, so I'm not beating him up about it. But they, again, same old same. They have a great defense that can get turnovers, and they get that turnover chain going. I'm really impressed by their star player, DJ Dallas. I'm going to name him a star player because of just how well he played. He's my MVP of the game, even though they lost the game.
Yeah. No, I think what they're saying when they're talking about that under pressure stat you're talking about, first of all, you can make a stat say anything you want it to say. But I think when both quarterbacks, were not under pressure, they were comparing them kind of apples to apples when neither one of them was under pressure, that Jalen Williams, outplayed him or Jarren Williams outplayed him, which is very true. I thought it looked like Williams had some ability for Miami. I thought he did a good job, especially, goodness gracious, you're getting sacked 10 times. You're lucky to complete any pass because you think you'd have happy feet, wanting to get out of the pocket immediately. I thought he actually looked pretty good. Felipe Franks is the same guy I thought he was. Everybody was talking about how well he did at the end of last year. I wasn't buying it, still not buying it. And obviously he kind of proved that out to be true, at least in game 1 so far. Now maybe he gets it together at the end of the season, and kind of brings back that magic he had at the end of last year. I don't know. But I've just never been impressed with him, and I don't think he had a good night. It's just kind of a rough game all around. I really thought Miami deserved to win even after all that. It was kind of crazy. But you know what? All that matters is the W on the scoreboard, and Florida got it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was a game I'd love to have seen the ACC win. I mean, I'm not that guy that says I want all ACC teams to lose. I do want to have better competition for Clemson and kind of get the other experts off of our back. But, I want them to all lose to Clemson. But I do want to have better competition in the ACC, specifically on the other side of the division. It's not fun going to the ACC championship and knowing you're going to steamroll them. I want to be able to go into the championship game knowing it's going to be a battle. The one that's Clemson's going to win, but again, a battle all the same. Alan, so that kind of wraps up week 0 because there was only one big game, really.
That's right.
For Florida, though, I wanted to say real quick, right now, Felipe Franks is exactly what Kelly Gramlich said. Felipe hot dog. Not going to call him anything other than that. He's not showing. He's not showing up. Philip hot dogs, right? Philip hot dog. Not showing up at all. And is Florida a top 10 team? I'm saying after that game,
not even close.
Yeah, not even close right now. So. If you're a Florida fan, I'm sorry. Got to go back to the drawing board and figure this out because the quarterback just doesn't seem, to have it right now. But defenses on both sides seem to be decent. But that's week 0 in the books. We got a ton of games coming up for week 1. That's what we're really excited for. That's going to come up in segment 3. We're going to give you our picks against the spread in segment number 3, and then our picks for the Georgia Tech Clemson game in segment number 4. So hang tight. Let's check in with everybody in the chat. Actually, Al, to let you know, I lowered everything down. I closed everything out, maybe thinking that we had too much going on. Looks like we're still having some frames dropped here and there, so it might be skipping around on the live feed. I apologize for that. Not really sure what's going on. The internet seems to be working fine on my end. We did just switch over to Spectrum to try something different because AT&T was just kicking us out, every show basically. But Al, you got anybody over on Facebook? Let me check in from my phone over on YouTube.
Yeah, sure. I saw my sister joined us. Trip Anderson is with us. Doty's with us. Alan Ward, he's been asking a little bit about the ACC network. I'm trying to get him up to speed on that. So right now we're about 13 viewers, so not too bad. I guess the internet's kind of keeping a few people away, but for the most part, we're doing all right over here.
Yeah, on my end, I'm checking YouTube as well right now and asking some of our viewers what they think. I'm seeing it. It's rolling over on YouTube. I don't know if there's a little bit of a delay or not. It looks like it's rolling pretty good on my phone now. Got about 17 people watching, but the only problem is I have no idea how to check the chat on my phone. I know you and I talked about this last week about how in the world do you check your chat looking at it from the phone. I have no idea. Normally it says like live chat down at the bottom, but I'm not seeing it. But I'm seeing us talking and talking about the recap. So got 19 people watching now. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry I can't see the chat. I don't want to bring it up because I don't want anything to like shut down on me. But we've had some system updates with our software, so I appreciate your patience. Like I said, if you get the show and you're like, man, this is skipping, don't worry about it. We're going to have the replay up tomorrow. It'll be there, so you'll see the whole show, and we'll have clips, as always, throughout the week, so you can check that out on our YouTube page or on our Facebook page. And, as we mentioned on Facebook, we'll be on theroar.radio. Go check it out. That's the website, www.theroar.radio. You can check them out and see all the things from The Roar, Mickey Plyler, Mark Childress, and all the gang over there. And then if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see The Morgan Thomas Show with Big Al, so you can check out our show there. Go click on the video and put in a comment. Let Ben Milstead and Deborah Jones know how much you love the show and appreciate our hard work. If you're on Facebook, give us a like and a share. If you're on YouTube, give us a subscribe and let us know that you appreciate the show. But again, Al, let's jump over to segment number 2. How about that?
Segment number 2, 3 wishes. All right. It's a cool segment that you decided to do, 3 wishes from a Genie. So do you want to do our non-Clemson wishes or our Clemson wishes first?
This one is one I think I'm really excited about. So 3 wishes, okay? Let's do non-Clemson wishes. So we're going to do 3 wishes from the Genie, non-Clemson wishes first. And the rule is, Alan, they have to be positive. We're not going to wish any negative. I don't want any bad mojo for us, for Clemson, for anybody going into this season wishing 3 negatives. It'd be real easy to wish 3 negatives on the team in Columbia, but I want to say positives, all right?
Well, you got to say, when you're wishing positive on somebody, you're wishing negative on somebody else.
All right, now we're not getting philosophical here, okay? We're just trying to be positive.
So, all right, my number 1, I don't know if this is fair or not anymore. My number 1 non-Clemson wish is that App State upset South Carolina, okay? Because I'm pulling for App State. All right, so it's not a negative. It's just a positive for App State. All right, everybody likes to overlook these type of games. Okay, App State is a program that kind of dominated, the FCS for a while, and they kind of moved up with the big boys a few years ago. Really got put on the map when they beat Michigan all those years ago. So a team you always kind of got to look out for. You kind of got to be wary of ever since that moment. They have the ability to pull the upset. They're a pretty talented team, but everybody wants to overlook it. Of course, it's just. it'd be really cool to see them go in and take that game from South Carolina for sure. It's always good to see a game taken from South Carolina, but especially from a team like App State.
Let us know in the comments what your 3 wishes are for teams that are not Clemson. But I've got a feeling that Alan's going to wish bad luck on South Carolina by wishing positive on every other team that they play. So, Alan, I hope you change it up just a little bit, just a little for us.
Just for you.
So put it in the comments what you really wish for teams that are not Clemson this year, and something positive, not something negative. No bad juju before we start the season tomorrow night. My number 1 is I want to see LSU beat Alabama on November 9th in Tuscaloosa. I think it would be great for Alabama and LSU to go at it and battle it out, and I really want to see LSU beat them up. I want to see a team from their division give them a test. And if you look at Alabama's schedule, they can't say nothing about the ACC with the schedule they have this year. They have, if you look at their home schedule, they're projected to win just about 95% of every single game is their win expectancy for every single home game this year. The only team that's going to give them a chance or give them a run is LSU at home later on this year. So I want LSU to take advantage of that and really knock them down. Now, I know they don't have the offense right now. They're revamping it. They're trying to get this read option going. I get it. They got the defense. They got a good, decent running back. I know it's not going to be easy for them, but I'd love to see Alabama get 1 loss in the season against LSU at home. I think that'd be great. And then I'd like to see Alabama just turn around and get another loss in the SEC championship. See you later. Watch us on TV in 2020. That's what I would like.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not going to say I fully agree with that, but I'm okay with that. I will allow it. I don't mind LSU beating Alabama. I have number 2. This is a relatively unrealistic wish, and I understand that, but it's a wish, right? Are they supposed to be realistic? I'm not really sure. I want anybody but UGA to win the East, okay? Because I don't like Georgia. Everybody knows I don't like Georgia, and any Clemson fan that's a true Clemson fan, no offense, Morgan, should not like Georgia, okay? We battle head-to-head with Georgia all the time in recruiting, okay? And I'm so sick of them stealing our offensive linemen, all right? They get the top offensive linemen every single year, and it sickens me. I want to get a couple of those, and the worse they look, the better we look, okay? So anybody, I'm putting positive vibes out there for the Missouris of the world, the Kentuckys of the world, Tennessee, Florida, all those type of people, okay? So anybody but Georgia and, of course, South Carolina to win the East is my wish number 2.
Well, I told you, and everybody's been getting on to me on YouTube in the comments about, oh, Morgan, you can't hate, you're not hating on Georgia enough. You're not, you can't say you like Georgia. Here's the deal.
Right?
My aunt that I love with all my heart, she's just an amazing person. She went to Georgia, and so I can't hate Georgia that much. I know this sounds crazy, but it's a family tie there. I guess I don't necessarily. I mean, I have friends that are Georgia fans. The Moons and the Fields. They love the Bulldogs, and I have some friends at church that love the Bulldogs. So I just can't hate on them that much. Maybe a lot of the bitterness is from the old school fans that remember the 80s and the 90s, and I don't know, man. We don't play them really. I mean, when's the next time we play them? I know it's going to be a couple of years from now, so I don't hate them like I guess I should. I know you tell me I should, and everybody loves you for it. I get it. But so my number 2. And that's interesting because I did pick Georgia. Your pick. I did pick Georgia to beat Alabama in the SEC championship. If you noticed on ClemsonJunkies.com,
yeah.
So I bet you hated that too.
I'm pretty sure I picked him as well. That just doesn't mean I like it.
So my number 2 is I actually really want to see Jalen Hurts do well in the Big 12. I know a lot of people are saying that he doesn't have the arm for the Big 12. He's just a running quarterback. He's just kind of lost his job at Alabama to Tua. But, hey, man, he showed out in the SEC championship game when they needed him the most. And I respect players who sit there, and even though they lose their job, they don't jump around. They don't go in the transfer portal immediately. He was a respectable player, didn't get into trouble. He stayed with the team and saw the season through, and then he transferred. And I respect that. You graduate from the university that you start with, and then you transfer if the stars didn't align for you to be in the starter. With a quarterback, I don't blame you for leaving when there's only one position. Running back too, I don't blame you for leaving when there's only really one starter. For me, I'm not beating him up about that. I'm not beating him up, especially when you graduate. But I know a lot of people are saying, oh, he can't hang, but I think Lincoln Riley's going to be able to prove that he can coach up some quarterbacks. I don't want him to win the Heisman because I want somebody from Clemson. Oh, I'm already telling you what my other Genie list is. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go there, but yeah, Oklahoma's schedules, they can't say anything about the ACC either. They've got Iowa State as a ranked team, and then they've got Texas, I believe, is the other ranked team, and that's it. So, big beefy schedule there for the Big 12, but I want to see Jalen Hurts do well. I'm not saying I want Oklahoma in the playoffs. I just want Jalen Hurts to do well.
Right. No, that's fair enough. I think you got to root for a guy like that and all he did at Alabama and the way he handled himself. I would agree with that. I think it's a good wish. My third wish is that any team from the Big 10 or Pac-12 make it to the playoffs. Okay. It's time for somebody to step up after a 2-year hiatus. Okay. Really, most importantly, I want somebody to step up so that we can kick out the second SEC team. Okay. Because we all know they're going to put the second best SEC team in there, regardless of how many losses they have or how bad they look or whatever it may be. Now, unfortunately, I don't think this year they're going to be bad. If there was a second SEC team, it'd probably be worth it. I would imagine it would be Georgia or Bama. But still, I'm rooting for somebody else to kind of sneak their way in there so that they can do some damage. Get a Ohio State in there. I don't care. Get a Michigan, Washington, Oregon. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. But just kind of, they hadn't been there in a couple of years. I don't want them to kind of pick their ball up and go home and leave the Power Five. So it'd be nice for them to get some spotlight here.
That's interesting you say that. Do you think that what do you think? Do you think that there needs to be more teams in the playoff, like an 8-team playoff?
Yeah, I've always been an 8-team playoff guy. I was probably more of a 16 playoff guy, and then when Clemson got really good, it's like, you know what, we really don't want more teams. We really don't want any more than 2 or 4 right now. But the fact of the matter is, more football is a good thing, and more playoff football is a great thing. So I'm all for 8 teams, regardless of whether it hurts Clemson's chances. They got to play one more tough game. I don't care. It's good football. I want to play good football. I want to watch good football. So yeah, I'm all for having 8-team playoff. I think that's the way it needs to be.
I'm a little indifferent right now. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I mean, I don't want these teams like the Clemsons to have to play 5 more games after their regular season. I just. I know it's not 5 more games. I get it. I'm just exaggerating. But, these guys are still college kids, still not guaranteed to go to the NFL. I know that, I would hate to see somebody like Travis Etienne get worn out because of the playoff being expanded and then hurt his chances for the NFL. These guys got to make a living if they're good enough. And, I respect that in a sense too, but I can see where everybody's coming from the playoffs perspective. It doesn't seem to hurt basketball too bad. I mean, they got, 5,000 teams in that playoff, but but football is obviously more of a contact, a more physical sport, so it's a little bit more difficult to make them play so many more games, but especially when they're not getting some money for it, for sure. But let me give you my number 3. My number 3 is something kind of more personal too. Probably people aren't really thinking about, but Army. So I'm an Army veteran, and so I love watching Army Navy. It's a game I grew up watching with my grandfather, and was one of the reasons why I enjoyed the military service so much, watching those games as a kid. But Army, they won 11 games last year, Al, which is amazing to say.
Good team.
But they've got a pretty decent schedule this year, a pretty favorable schedule this year as well. They only have really one marquee team to play other than the service academies, and that is Michigan. They have to go to the big house over there, not the big house, but Ann Arbor, and beat Michigan, try to beat Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. And so they have to go to Ann Arbor and take on Michigan, and I just hate Jim Harbaugh. I mean, I really don't like the guy. I think he looks weird in his pants, and he's constantly taking his teams to other countries like Italy and things like that, trying to show off. And I'm sure he's paying some players. I don't know. I just don't like the way he acts as a coach. I don't like the way he recruits as a coach. I don't like the minute he takes over, it's like they're back. It's big absolute again. Oh, they're back, and they really haven't proven that. A lot of people are saying Michigan, this is their year to beat Ohio State and go to the playoffs, but not if Army beats them. And so I'm picking Army. I want Army to get that win and maybe even go undefeated this year. Man, it'd be crazy to think a service academy in 2019 could go undefeated. But, I'm going for the Black Knights there.
Yeah, they could very well win that game. I mean, Michigan, I always think Michigan's overrated every year. It seems like they win more than they should every year. And I think Army's a great team. They may well win 11 games again this year. But I certainly think they have a good shot at that. I have a feeling our 3 Clemson wishes are going to be very similar. This is what I kind of warned you about as a slippery slope when we talk Clemson wishes, because everybody really knows what you're pining for here. But let's get the Clemson wishes kicked off here. So wish number 1, what you got for wish number 1?
All right. So before that, I'm still trying to get into YouTube chat, guys. I apologize for not being able to see this chat here. Looks like I found something. You found something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I see we got people watching over on YouTube, and so we got, looks like 21 people over on YouTube. I don't know how many people you got over on Facebook, but let's jump over to the Clemson wishes real quick and kind of run through it. But my Clemson wish, all right, is I'm just going to give you my 3 real quick, okay?
Okay.
Number 1, I want Travis Etienne to win the Heisman.
Okay.
All right, not Trevor. I want a running back to win the Heisman. They don't win it. They don't win it very often, and it'd be awesome to see Travis do it. Especially coming from the fact that he wasn't like this big 5-star guy that everybody thought would, be the next big thing or the generational running back, right? He worked his way up from kind of a high 3-star to a low 4-star, and then became a Heisman candidate. So I want Travis to do well and win the Heisman this year. I think you have to say this. I want to see Clemson win the national championship. Why not? I mean, back-to-back will be amazing. Not many teams have ever done that, and I want to see Clemson do it. And then my number 3 is just something for fun. I was thinking you were going to go big or go home on me, so I wanted to throw one in here for you. But my number 3 is I want to see Clemson hang 100 points on South Carolina this year in Columbia. I'd love to see Clemson put 100, because if Clemson puts 100 and Carolina somehow manages like 30, 35, I would love to hear the fan base try to say, but how many yards did we get on you though? We got 500 yards on you. And then we'd be like, but we beat you by 70. Because that's how I felt like this year. But we beat you by multiple touchdowns. But we threw 500 yards on you. I want to see, but we beat you by 100 points. And I want to see the excuses, because I know Gamecock fans are really good at it. And I just can't wait to hear that if that actually happens. So that's my 3rd Genie wish for Clemson.
Yeah, that I got to tell you, that 3rd Genie wish sounds a lot like a positive for Clemson masquerading as a negative for the Gamecocks.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, and you were all over me before about that, okay? I'm telling you. No, look, you got to start with back-to-back national championships, okay? I think your first wish was a Heisman. No, sir. That is 2nd. National championship back-to-back, that is number 1. Okay, number 2, I have this exact same thing. Heisman Trophy. Clemson does not have one. It's something we want to see him get. However, I'm not particular on what player it is. I don't really care. I don't care if it's Trevor. I don't care if it's Justin Ross. I don't care if it's Travis Etienne, or T. Higgins or anybody like that. It does not matter to me. As long as we get that trophy and are able to have that in our case, and we can finally say, South Carolina, you don't have that over us anymore, okay, right? We don't ever want them to have anything that we don't. So, obviously, I'm with you again as that, Heisman Trophy. We've got to have one of those. So, last but not least, I kind of dug a little bit for this one to kind of see what I could do. This one was a little bit more for fun, just like yours. I want Chad Smith to prove the doubters wrong, okay? He had a high recruiting ranking. He was at 5-star, I think, at one point, or right on the border, at least. He was really well known for his pass coverage abilities. He did well in the 7-on-7s and that kind of thing. And, he gets to college, and we haven't seen him. He hasn't been there. He's looked kind of slow, like he's not really ready to cover the pass. But I'm ready for him to live up to his hype, live up to his billing, because I've been excited about this guy for years. I'm ready to finally see him do some damage this fall.
That's a pretty good list. I like that. I apologize for putting the Heisman Trophy ahead of the national. It's not. I didn't really put him in order in that sense, so I apologize for that. But I like Chad Smith too. I think he's going to do well. I think that linebacking core is one thing that I was really worried about going into the season. But the more you listen to Dabo Swinney in the press conferences, the more you just have to realize that this linebacking core may not be well known, but are going to be pretty well off as far as talent goes. They just have to get the experience, and it's his time now. I mean, he has no other time. This is his last chance to prove, and his only chance really. First and last chance to prove what he can do over there in the will linebacker spot. So I'm excited for Chad Smith and Skalski and Venables and Jones and Simmons and all the other guys there. Spector, anybody else I missed, I apologize, but I'm excited for all the linebacking core there. That's basically our college football 3 wishes. Let us know in the comments what your wishes were. We had wishes for non-Clemson teams, positive only. Well, I guess my rule doesn't make any sense, but positive only. And then on the other end, Clemson wishes. They can be negative for Carolina, disguised as positive for Clemson. I'll make that a rule, Al. I'll make that one exception in the rule book. 13.1-A is the exception there for that pick. So sorry I didn't email that to you earlier. But let's jump over to halftime real quick and check in with YouTube and Facebook. If you didn't know, we're streaming live. YouTube and Facebook had a little bit of delay there, issues with the stream at first, but it looks like I checked Facebook just now. Looks like everything's running. I'm looking at YouTube. We're still running strong. 22 people watching live. I can't see the chat because I wanted to knock everything down to make sure that we're running as lean as possible. Not really seeing any bad frames right now, showing 60 frames per second. So, Al, take us over to Facebook, see if you see anything over there.
Yeah, so right now, Richard Hoffman gets in, says his Clemson wish is not season related, but are Justin Flo, Jordan Burst, and Xavier Henderson. So that's a good list. I 100% agree with you there, Richard, for sure. I'm really looking forward to some Justin Flo. I mean, we're actually going to give a little tidbit on him later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. And I got Kathy Clark gets in and says, I wish that all the Tigers stay healthy and win. Okay. Also, excellent wishes. Okay. Health is always something you want. And Clemson's actually been pretty lucky with that the last few years. So obviously we'll knock on wood or anything you can find to make sure that happens again for the Tigers. So got anybody getting in with the wishes over there before I get to our mid-show sponsor?
Looks like we're a little low here over on YouTube. Everything looks like it's running good, so I appreciate everybody bearing with us. We got 27 now in the chat so far. Ellis Tolbert has jumped in and kind of helped us out over on the chat. So Ellis, thanks for giving us a shout. If you haven't checked that out, Ellis Tolbert's a good friend of ours. He's been on the show a couple of times, and he actually has also partnered with the Roar to give you each team's in-depth review preview before the week. So I'm excited for that because, hey, I can cheat off of his paper and not have to do all the research. Let Ellis do the research for you. It's an amazing show. Not only that, but he will still do his regular podcast on Monday where he'll recap that week's show. So Ellis is going to give you everything you need to know for the week coming up and everything you need to know as a recap for the previous week. So just go check that out on The Roar. It's going to be airing on The Roar, actually, and over anywhere you can find podcasts there. 4th and 16 podcast with Ellis Tolbert. Go check him out. Al, let us know about our mid-show sponsor.
Yeah, man, our mid-show sponsor is Heating Cooling Services, Inc. They are family-owned and operated, serving Anderson County and surrounding areas since 1980. Heating Cooling Services, Inc. is your residential and commercial comfort expert. Anything from preventative maintenance of your HVAC system to overhauling a commercial chiller and everything in between. If you want to breathe easier and be nice and cool in your home or business this summer, give Heating Cooling Services, Inc. a call. Ladies and gentlemen, get a hold of them and call Mark or Jason Trammell, okay? Ask for them, 864-224-7655. Again, that's 864-224-7655. You know, Morgan and I tell you about this all the time. We use sponsors that we give you sponsors, we use ourselves. All right, he's used Black's Tire, I've used Heating Cooling Services, Inc. They've done a great job for both of us. They'll do a great job for you. So get with these guys, and remember, tell them we sent you. Tell them you heard about them on the Morgan Thomas Show. All right, that's how this deal works. We tell you that every week. So we want them to know that their advertising dollars are in good hands with us, and we also want to give them the business they deserve. So give these guys a call, and they will take great care of you.
Yeah, we got people jumping in now on YouTube. Terry LeGrand is saying he's been a Tiger all in for 55 years. Awesome, Terry. We appreciate you joining and supporting the show. Looks like everybody's saying everything's going good here. Toby Humphrey said ESPN saying the ACC is the weakest this year, weakest conference this year. I mean, I was looking through. There's a win expectancy over on Reddit. A guy put together with S&P Plus stats. I mean, you look at these big-time teams that everybody wants to drool over. nobody has like the juggernaut of all juggernaut schedules. Except for South Carolina, they have the juggernaut of all juggernaut, the gauntlet of all gauntlets. The be all end all. Never going to have any players that are going to. All their players are going to be injured by the end of the year. But yeah, if you look at Alabama, weak schedule. Look at Oklahoma, pretty weak schedule to me. So a lot of the big teams that people are projecting into the playoffs, I'm not really seeing some huge matchups there. Clemson's got 2 SEC teams to play this year, and Syracuse is not a pushover team. I know Mark Childress. Mark, if you're watching, there are a lot of Syracuse people watching that video from like 4 weeks ago and really mad at you over on YouTube. So go give them a shout when you have a chance. They're not liking that you're calling Syracuse a pretender. I love it because you know when football season gets close, because that's when the other team's fans come to the Clemson page to talk smack or to put their 2 cents in. And most of them, as you will probably know, Alan, they don't really like that we're pro-Clemson. But again, we got Black's Tire Inc., big sponsor of ours. Heating and Cooling Services, big sponsor of ours. We really appreciate it. And The Roar, their new website, theroar.radio. I got the old website there. Apologize for that. But new website, go check it out. Our videos are up there. Go let Ben and them know how much you appreciate the show. We would appreciate any support. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I noticed that we already have a couple people subscribing right now, so go do that for us. We'd really appreciate that. Trying to get to 1,000. That's our goal, is to get to 1,000 so we can get Super Chat. I don't really know much about Super Chat other than it's super. So we want to get to 1,000 over there. Help us out. We're over 470 right now. Over on Facebook, I don't know if you noticed, a couple of weeks ago we went over 1,000 followers on Facebook. If you haven't been on Facebook or seen our Facebook, go check it out. Give us a like and share there or follow there. We try to post more than just videos over on the Facebook to keep you engaged throughout the week. And check out some of our other friends there. We got Mark Childress over at The Ring. We've got Ellis Tolbert at 4th and 16, like we said. And then we've got Jason Priester over at ClemsonJunkies.com. A lot of great Clemson content out there. We want to share the love with everybody around there because we can't stop talking about Clemson. That's why we started this show. Al,
yeah, man.
We were going to talk about some of the recruits. Let's skip through that, and let's go ahead and do our picks and do our Clemson preview and wrap it up for the night. How about that?
Hey, man, let's do it.
All right, so segment number 3, this is something we're going to kind of run through. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not some spread genius. All right, Alan is the guy. All right, Alan is the guy you want to listen to. Alan's the guy you want to put all your hard-earned paycheck. You want to go with his picks. So don't go with my picks because, I don't normally do this. I normally just pick straight up head-to-head. With the spread makes it a little bit harder, but the way we did it this week and the way we're going to do it this year is we're going to talk about the ACC teams, and we're going to pick against the spread for the ACC games, and then any top 25 versus top 25, we're going to throw those in there as well. And then if there's any one-off game that doesn't fall into those 2 categories that we really want to talk about, we'll do that as well. But most of those for this week fit perfectly. So, Alan, I'm going to go ahead and I'll say the games and the spread that we have right now. If my spread hasn't been updated, you let me know what the new spread is, or you correct me, or correct us in the chat for sure. But I'm going to go ahead and say Wake Forest is giving 3.5 points to Utah State. Who you got there?
I actually picked Wake Forest here at -3.5. I'm taking them in the 3.5 points. I think they're going to win by more than that. Utah State just kind of lost too much on offense. They had a good team last year, but I think they lost too much there, especially on the offensive line. But I think Wake's going to be a little better than people think. But I'm taking Wake Forest -3.5.
All right, I'm going Wake Forest as well. I think they're going to beat the 3.5, and Ohio State, from what I'm looking at, or Utah State, excuse me, has lost 4 starters on the offensive line, and lost a couple of their key wide receivers that was from that explosive offense last year. So I'm going with Wake Forest. Next game is NC State -17 versus East Carolina. Who you got there?
NC State -17. All right, I'm taking NC State as well, and I really don't know why. I haven't had a lot of faith in East Carolina the past few years, and NC State lost a lot from last year as well. But it's a game, I'm assuming NC State's at home, correct?
Yes.
NC State's at home. It's a game they should kind of win by, I'm guessing kind of the 20-point range, something like that. So I'm hoping – a lot of times NC State lets me down in these type of games, but I'm going with them this time. I actually had them at 16.5. I'll take them at 17 as well.
I'm saying that NC State as well. This is one of those games that, again, I'm not an ACC homer, but I feel like this is one of those games that NC State has to win, and has to win by more than 17 in order to show that the ACC has teams that are better teams than just Clemson. So I really want to see the Wolfpack do well, at least in this game. Probably not many other games for sure, but I picked NC State. Next game up is one that it's going to be kind of tough. It's really hard because this is one of those high spreads. Got Alabama versus Duke in Atlanta. Alabama right now is giving 35 points to Duke starting out. What do you think?
Well, I got to tell you, the complexity of this one has kind of changed a little bit with, the suspensions to Alabama's running backs and Dylan Moses, their linebacker, being out for the year. But at the same time, I think, with their running backs being gone, maybe they'll pass more. Duke can't cover those receivers. I'm taking Alabama minus 35 points. I don't usually like to touch a spread that big, but I am going to take Alabama with this one. I think even with the suspensions, Duke shouldn't be a match for them.
Okay, yeah. This was one, too. I said I wasn't going to take Alabama, and I ended up taking Alabama as well. Last year I got burned on the minus 35s every time, it seemed like. So I reluctantly did, just because I feel like Alabama's going to come out and really want to beat up on Duke after having such a bad national championship game, and so that's why I'm going to Alabama. Big one for our rivals, South Carolina minus 10 at North Carolina in Charlotte. Who you got there?
Well, this line actually went up from like 7.5 to 10 points. So I really want to take South Carolina because I think they're a better team. North Carolina is horrible, and I don't think they're going to win very many games this year. But first game, a little sloppiness on both sides, maybe a couple turnovers. I'm going to take North Carolina plus the 10 here. But I really don't have a good football basis for that, other than the things I just mentioned. But I'm going to take North Carolina here and hope they cover. Hope they win.
Okay, here's one that we're kind of a little bit different on. I'm going to say it.
It's on you, bud.
I'm going to say it. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say South Carolina wins by more than 10 against North Carolina with the new coach. I don't really know much about the Tar Heels right now, how they're going to be. I know that Mac Brown is doing some good recruiting over there, but that doesn't work for this year. And I know that they just picked up a really good running back from the team in orange. And so I'm going to go with South Carolina on that one. Let's move on.
Let's do it.
Virginia Tech minus 4 at Boston College. They got to go up to Massachusetts. What you think there?
I am taking BC. Okay, I'm taking BC. As a matter of fact, I know this doesn't count. Obviously, this can't count against me in the spread. But I'm going to say Boston College win. AJ Dillon leads them to a victory at home against the Hokies.
I got people on YouTube saying that they believe Tavian Feaster gets the cover as well. So, they agreed with me reluctantly, I'm sure, as well. I've actually got Virginia Tech not winning the game, but not winning against the spread. I think they're going to win by like 1 point. So, give me Boston College in that game.
Yep.
The next game looks like Syracuse giving 18 to Liberty, and they're actually playing at Liberty. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's a little bit odd for sure. Liberty's actually a little bit better team than people realize, offensively at least. They can score some points, but Syracuse, the way they do things, the way they run up tempo and that kind of stuff, I think they're going to kind of wear Liberty down. I'm going to go with Syracuse minus the 18, even though I think Liberty will score some points on them.
Yeah, I'm going to get Syracuse as well. If those fans are talking about how DeVito is a big deal and that they're going to run up on Clemson at home as well, they got to beat Liberty. And why not beat Liberty when the coach is probably going to be coaching from the hotel room? Did you notice that they said that they put video cameras and projector screens in his hotel room so that he could watch the game because he recently had surgery? So that's going to be interesting if he can't be on the field. But Liberty is not a team that's not a bad team. They're just they're in that lower division, but they're not a bad team at all. But Syracuse, this is a game they got to win. They got to win big in order to prove to me and to other people in the nation that they're still going to hang with Clemson this year. Next up, we got Florida State minus 5 at Boise State in Jacksonville. Not even playing in Tallahassee. What do you think about that?
Well, the two I fought the most over was UNC, South Carolina, and Florida State, Boise State. I really don't have a good read on this game at all. I mean, Boise State hasn't been the Boise State of old for sure. I got a decent defense, but not much as far as offense is concerned. Florida State, you really don't have a clue what they have. I mean, their offensive line was atrocious last year. Will it be better this year? I don't think it's going to be that much better this year, but I think Kendall Briles is going to be able to mask some of those issues as their new offensive coordinator. So I'm going to say Kendall Briles pulls out some magic and FSU covers.
Ooh, that's pretty cool. All right, so FSU is going to beat Boise State by more than 5. I am on the other end of the book there. I'm going to say that I have no confidence in Florida State. James Blackman is like a stick throwing a football. He hasn't gained any weight since he started college. Boise State's got a veteran defense, and they like to do trick plays against bigger name teams. Give me the Broncos beating Florida State. And I think the ACC needs it, but forget it. I'm going the Broncos for this one. Forget FSU. I don't want them to win.
I don't either.
The next up, we got Virginia -2.5 at Pittsburgh. This is a pretty interesting game starting out. This is one of those ACC games, which Virginia and Pitt are two teams that, pretty good powerhouses over there in the Coastal. I guess you could say powerhouses. They're probably two solid teams. Let me take that back. Over in the Coastal side. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say Virginia is more, more of that coastal powerhouse than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just has that tendency to sneak up on teams, a la Clemson in 2015. Okay, we all remember that. But or 2000, was it 2015 or 2016 maybe? But anyways, yeah, it was. I think Virginia's a better team. I just think Virginia's better. I think their defense is good. They have a good quarterback. I think they're going to stick this one out by 7, 8 points, something like that. So I'm taking Virginia -2.5.
Give me Virginia as well. I want Virginia to be one of those top teams over in the Coastal, and this is the first game to prove it to us. We got 19 people over on YouTube right now. I want to let you know, it looks like it's working right now, but it kind of goes down. I don't know if it's just YouTube or Facebook as well, but what I've noticed is all I got to do is refresh the feed. So I just kind of back out of the video and back in, and it works fine after that. So I'm not sure it's something on our end. It might be something on YouTube, but let me know if that helps you. If it's freezing up for you, just refresh it. So the next one is it's a Monday night game. This is not one of our weekend games. It's starting the week here. Notre Dame giving 20 over to Louisville on a Monday night. Who do you got there?
Actually, first of all, I did want to say, the Pittsburgh game when they jumped up and bit us, that was in 2016, obviously, because that's the year we won the national championship when we kind of made that comeback. But Notre Dame -20 against Louisville. Louisville's just that bad. I'm going with Notre Dame -20. I hate having to pick, spreads that big on teams that have been good, in the recent past, but Louisville is terrible. They were last year, as a matter of fact. I think they're going to be again this year. And I don't think Notre Dame is all they're cracked up to be either, but they're better than Louisville. So I'm going to take Notre Dame -20.
I got that as well. We're kind of on the same page there. I want Brian Kelly to show up and show out with his team over there in Notre Dame team. And, Louisville, it's just they got a new coach, but it's going to take time, just like Mac Brown's going to take time. And right now it's not it. They've got a lot of returning starters on defense, but their defense was so bad that I don't even know if that's a good thing or not. Right. So, all right, so the next big one is not an ACC game. This is one of those ones we're talking about, two top 25 teams. This is kind of one of the marquee games, other than Clemson, Georgia Tech, obviously. That is Auburn, number 16 Auburn, giving 3 points to number 11 Oregon. Who you got?
Well, it's funny when I'm picking these games usually in the year, I hate to do this because I hate to make their heads any bigger than it always is, but I always pick the SEC in these type of games. They always seem to do pretty well. I always pick them against the spread, but not so fast. All right, I'm taking Oregon plus the 3.5. I think Justin Herbert is going to take them to a win over Auburn in this game.
I'm liking that too. I put down Oregon as well. I don't have any confidence in Auburn right now either. Bo Nix, true freshman, never played, and then you got Justin Herbert, who's probably going to be a first-round draft pick. So I'm going with the quarterback in this situation, Oregon, all the way for me. So that rounds out our college football week 1 picks. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to write them down. Alan and I have them so we can keep track of our record. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with us. Got White in chat saying Oregon. Don't know about Bo Nix as well. Chat's also saying they unfortunately are picking Notre Dame and picking Virginia, looks like, as well. So thanks for getting in there, chat. Got 21 people over on YouTube. Like I said, if you have any issues with YouTube, just refresh it and see if it'll work for you. What you got over there on Facebook? Anything over there?
Not a whole lot really over here. I did. Nick Cullen did get in and talk about wanting to know about Trevor Lawrence a while back in there. I've got to refer him to one of our top 5 QB lists that we did. He needs to refer to that clip. It was an excellent clip we did, top 5 we did. So Matt Guthrie, I saw, joined us, and Brett Austin says, good picks, Morgan. So obviously Brett is a cousin of yours that you hadn't told me about. Sorry, Brett, but Morgan is mistaken on a few of these picks anyways. No, I'm kidding. These spreads are hard to pick against. I'm telling you, Morgan wanted to sandbag and act like I'm the expert. That is false, ladies and gentlemen. It is 100% false. Okay, these spread picks, it's picking against the spread. It's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, well, it is for sure, because that's what Vegas wants you to do, is to pick and make it harder so that that they win all the money. But Brett Austin is like a family member to me. He's been a great boss for me for so many years. Brett, appreciate you getting in and watching. Go Tigers! I'm sure you're already watching from the parking lot right now. That's just how Brett is. That's the kind of fan he is. So I'm sure he has got his legs kicked up, drinking a nice cold beverage there and eating some good food over at the tailgate. I'm assuming he's already camped out over there. If not, what are you doing? You're supposed to be there already. It's the day before the game. But thanks for getting in, Brett. So that's it. That is it for segment number 3. Alan, we're running through it a little bit long tonight. We've got some issues starting out, but let's get over to segment number 4. Thank you for chilling with us again over on YouTube. Got 17 people showing on YouTube. Got about 13 people showing up on Facebook. Again, if you're watching, give us a like on the video, give us a share on the video, let your friends know about it. If you're on YouTube, give us a subscribe. We'd like to get up. We're trying to get closer to that 1,000 mark over on YouTube. We're already over 1,100 over on Facebook, so appreciate the support. And if you want to check out the replay, you can check it out on YouTube, Facebook, and the roar.radio website. So last prediction of the night, and Al, looks like I disappeared there. Let me get back. Let me get back to the screen and see where I went. We'll I don't know why I'm disappeared in that screen. But we'll get back to we'll do this screen, and we'll just do the welcome screen and go from there. Don't you just love the internet or computers? But all right, so our last topic of the night is I disappeared. You saw a ghost talking there. Yeah. Now I'm back. All right, so Clemson versus Georgia Tech preview and prediction. Ready to see what Travis Etienne's going to do. That's really for me. I'm excited about Travis the most. Who are you excited about the most on offense?
Yeah, I really want to see the guys that we haven't seen. I really want to see the Joseph Ngatas and Lynn J. Dixon a little more. Obviously, I want to see the backups. I want to see them in, and I want to see them in early. All right, because I think these guys are electric players, and I want to see them get their touches and get their yards for sure. So I'm excited to see the newcomers. Obviously, you're excited to see all the other ones as well. Trevor Lawrence and Justin and T and Etienne and all those guys too.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those ones where if you look at the spread, it was one of those high spreads. Can Clemson win by more than 37 points? It's kind of scary to say that. I like to go with my heart for sure, but that's a big spread there. I want this year, though, going back to Travis Etienne, I really want this year to be about him making some big monster runs, and then turn around and throw Lynn J. Dixon in there and see him do some big monster runs. Another person I'm really looking forward to on offense is DeAndre Overton. We talked about him all off season. He's going to be in the slot position. A really crazy type player as far as physical build to be in that slot position, and it's going to be exciting to watch what he can do. He's going to be taller than most anybody he goes against. He's not typically supposed to be in that position, but that's what excites me. Those are kind of the two biggest things for me on offense.
Well, I got to tell you this. I know you weren't real keen on this, but I already had this written up before you decided to change it to all Clemson here in this Georgia Tech preview. But we were talking about Georgia Tech. Nobody really knows what to expect from Georgia Tech. We don't know their with their personnel and the new scheme, what they're going to run, who's going to run it. It's going to be kind of crazy. I think they're just going to kind of run people out there and see what works. Maybe on a series by series basis. It's going to kind of be crazy. Do you remember the last time that, Clemson faced a Yellow Jacket offense that was not the triple option? You know how long ago that was?
Well, I know that Paul Johnson was in with Georgia Tech for, 11 years? So it had to have been longer than 11 years, right? 10 years?
12 years ago, man, under Chan Gailey. Clemson, by the way, the last time they played that offense, awful night, okay? Mark Buckholz struggled big time, okay? Cullen Harper couldn't muster anything on offense. Tigers kicked a field goal on their first drive and then couldn't do anything the rest of the way. Georgia Tech won 13-3. So it was a brutal night for the Tigers. We're hoping the exact opposite happens tomorrow night and the Tigers get out to a huge lead and keep it there.
Yeah, I think that they will get out to a huge lead. How long will the starters play, I think, is one thing that everybody's been asking. How long until, Quack said, how long until we get to see Tyson Pumachan? and third stringer there. Tyson's a good player for sure. He's going to have just a few chances to shine when Trevor leaves and DJ comes in. He's going to have that chance to battle DJ in a couple of years. Not right now, but you're going to get to see him shine this year. I think I don't really foresee him getting redshirted since you look at his height and weight, his build, his pocket presence, his ability to scramble, his arm. I mean, some people on YouTube are saying they need to put him as wide receiver. That's not going to work right now. They got too many wide receivers, and he really does have a chance to fight for that starting position. Just because DJ's a 5-star doesn't mean he's guaranteed the next starting spot. So I'm excited to see him battle it out. He's already kind of put himself in that third stringer position for sure. I think it's interesting, talking about positions or positions on the depth chart. That Georgia Tech came out with this above the line thing, the ATL thing, where they're not going to tell people who's the starter or whatnot. I mean, okay. I get it. It's just another leadership gimmick. I think that hopefully will work. Maybe it'll work for you. We'll see. But I don't think it's going to really matter in this game at all. One thing that I think that I'm excited for is on the defensive side is DK. This guy came in, was a wide receiver, 5-star out of Rock Hill, turns around, notices that it's getting pretty stacked in the wide receiver room. They make a suggestion to put him over in the cornerback position, and he has dominated since then. And him and Sheridan Jones are 1-2 over on their side of the ball. I think that is just, you can't say enough about those two guys.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. As a matter of fact, you had a bold prediction the other day that Joseph Ngata was going to get a touchdown on a screen pass, I believe, or something like that. And my bold prediction is Deion Kendrick gets a pick six in his first start at corner. So I really want to see this guy. I want to see a lot from the defense. Obviously, I've been talking a lot about the tackles, Pinckney and Williams and Davis and Xavier Kelly, those guys. I get Richard Hoffman gets in and says he's looking forward to seeing which defensive end impresses. There's an embarrassment of riches there for the Tigers. So hopefully the veteran or some of the rookies kind of stand up and, get their sacks there, get the pressure on the QB, whether it's Thomas, Rudolph, Foster, any of those guys, Maskell, Henry. We got a lot of talent there for sure. And the linebackers, of course, you want to see what the linebackers can do. It's a new unit with Skalski, in the middle, and you got Chad Smith there, and of course Isaiah Simmons anchoring it down. So a lot to look forward to tomorrow night. It just cannot get here soon enough.
Man, you had to just go out and say the embarrassment of riches before the show ended out.
Had to do it.
Last week I said that I thought that was being overused last year and the year before then. Here you are starting us off strong. One last note is I assumed Aiden Swanson would be the starter by now. Mm-hmm. Doesn't look like it. He was kind of inconsistent in the spring game. Could kill it, but wasn't very consistent with it. So got a lot of battles going on the defensive side of the ball, on the special teams side of the ball. Dabo Swinney said, hey, that defensive line is not in stone right now. He's going to rotate out a lot, and we'll see what comes up. So let's get down to it and finish up the show. Al, Clemson giving 30, at least what I have right now, you can double check me on this, 36 and a half points right now is what I've got. What do you got?
Well, I got to tell you, I never like to bet against the Tigers in spreads, whether I think, the other team's going to cover or not. 36 and a half is a lot of points. It's opening night. There's a ton of unknowns. Like we said, we're just not sure what to expect out of Georgia Tech. Dabo Swinney's not the type to run up a score. He's not the type to keep his starters in if they're up, a good bit. So I'm going to pick the Tigers 52-17, which means I have Georgia Tech covering with a 36.5. I have them winning, Clemson winning by 35. Would I be surprised if Clemson wins by 50? No, absolutely not. But as a matter of fact, I think they should, because I think their backups should come in and be able to score points as well. And maybe that's the way it plays out. But just kind of the first game jitters, maybe a sputtering offense, something like that, kind of a few penalties here and there that stall drives. I'm going to say Georgia Tech covers with 36.5.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you my prediction as well for Clemson. It's been hard for me too. I usually never pick anybody that has more than that's giving more than 30 points. It's just way too high. If you look back, Clemson, how many teams did they actually beat more than 36 points? Not very many teams last year, and they had a really good offense last year, but they have another really good offense this year. And reload in a lot of positions and add a couple of new players in a lot of positions, a lot of key playmaking positions. So I'm not going to start the year off betting against the Tigers. I'm going to go ahead and say that Clemson wins by more than 36 points, or more than 36.5 points. And so give me Clemson on that. Not something I would normally do, and I might kind of secretively not do it on our Yahoo pick'em. But to save face in front of everybody, I'm going to go ahead and pick Clemson winning by more than 37 or more into this game Thursday night. No matter how many points they win by, which we all assume that they will win because of the matchup and the talent on both sides of the field. Aren't you just glad that we get to watch the Tigers go out on the field tomorrow night?
It's a beautiful thing, my friend. And as a matter of fact, I don't blame you for picking the Tigers there. I hope you're right. This is one I would love to be wrong on. Okay, I want to win every game by 100. So I'm rooting for the Tigers. I'll be there in the Valley tomorrow night, 8 p.m. With my father-in-law. It's going to be a great night. Perfect weather for tomorrow night, from what I've been reading. Low 70s, mid 70s, something like that. No chance of rain. It is going to be an absolutely spectacular start to the season for the Tigers.
Yeah, Alan and I are excited about it. I know you are excited about it. If you're watching us over on YouTube or Facebook and been going in and out of for you, I apologize, but we will have all the replays up later on tonight or tomorrow afternoon, so go check that out over on our YouTube page or our Facebook page. You can check it out. Give us a like and a share over on Facebook and support us there. Subscribe and comment on some of our videos over on YouTube, and share those YouTube videos as well to kind of give us support. Hey, and even check us out on the Roar's website, theroar.radio. Go check them out over there and put a comment down on some of our videos there. Let Ben, Deborah, and Mark over there know that you appreciate our show and want more of it. Even with the technical difficulties, we'll get through. Like I said, if you can't watch us on the live channel, go ahead and wait till tomorrow. We will have the replays up. Alan, you have anything for those Tiger fans before we sign out?
I don't. I was really hoping you were just going to kind of buzz right through there so I didn't have to look like a fool when I didn't have anything to say. But, that wouldn't be your style for sure. But, I'll just thank everybody for the support that they've given us so far, and I hope they continue to do so. Mark and Ben, the guys at the station, we really appreciate you guys being in there with us. So hopefully it's leading to bigger and better things, but we appreciate everything from everyone.
All right, everybody. You know what we say. As always, Tiger fans, we'll see you at the top of the hill.